just going on to that, what is it like going from such an extreme from 100k to then showing up to a 5k the next week? Because it's just such an extreme between the two distances.
Yeah, it's a huge extreme actually. And do you know what? I think sometimes I'm just plain nuts. Um, it's different thought processes. I think it's almost going back to that switch and knowing that you need to flick that switch. But you're not just training the body, you're training the mind as well, because your mind is such a powerful tool. Your mind will tell you your body is ready to give up way before your body can. So in a 100k race, for instance, you'll never be assured that you can do it, but it'll be your mind that tells you you can't, not your body.
That's really interesting, that. So there may be some of you watching right now, I'm not sure, or watching back on replay, who might be thinking that they might like to give an ultra a go one day. So what have you found to be the biggest differences between running, say, a marathon to running an ultra, you know, jumping up to 50k, 100k? What are the biggest differences?
Okay, it's quite a difficult question really, because obviously that depends on whether you're jumping up from doing, you're racing a road marathon, for instance, and then suddenly you're doing a trail ultra, because often the ultras are not road.
Yes.
But I think you want to actually say 42k, 26 miles isn't, to go to 33 miles, which is 50k, isn't it's not a lot. It's a, you know, it's like a park run and a bit. It's fine. But it's the journey that leads you there. You know, if you think of it as a linear journey, you get to the 42 and then actually you've got another almost two park runs actually to go. So it becomes more, I think after the marathon status, it becomes more mental, and it's more about that mental strength, saying your mind is telling you your body can do that little bit more. And I think also realizing that your pace has to change and your pace control has to change. So for instance, someone who is perhaps looking at racing a marathon distance will look at really nice consistent splits, and you know, and certainly aiming to maybe become stronger and a little bit faster on those last few miles heading home. But I don't think you can really do that on anything from 50k upwards, because the especially on a trail, the undulating nature of, say, a mountain trail, unless you've prepared really well and you look at all of the peaks and troughs of what you're doing, that's where it becomes a real, it's not the physical challenge, because if you've prepared yourself for a marathon and you've prepared yourself to run a marathon with nice constant splits, then you can complete a 50k, because your body's prepared to do it, but you need to then get your mind to catch up with that.
And I think Rob Davies, actually, he asked about fueling for those kinds of distances. That's a big difference as well. And
yeah, it's a huge difference. So what I would say, on if you are racing a marathon, your fueling strategy will be very, very different to anything longer than that, because of how your body can break down all the sugars and fats that it needs in order to give yourself the energy to continue. And again, everybody is different. And for instance, Coach T won't mind me saying this, that we explored lots of different situations and scenarios with myself, and we practiced and played with lots of things. And for me, because I quite like eating as well, and I always find that ultras are more like picnics. I need to fuel every half an hour. I'm quite well built, and but I don't carry weight, and I lean very quickly, and I put on weight very quickly. So for me, I can't retain enough, and you have to learn what is good for yourself. So for me, I need to fuel every half an hour, but I need to fuel with non-synthetic. I need real food. And so I have to train actually eating whilst I'm running. And most people struggle to take on solid food, because when you run, your body can't digest at the same time it's running. It shuts off elements of the body. And so you have to almost train your body to shut off the elements it doesn't need, but retain the element that you do need. And so for me, I need my body to digest the food.
Wow. So what would Alexandra's picnic look like? What solid food? What do you like to eat? I love the way how you describe like an 100k as just a chilled out picnic, which is so far from.
Some cherry bakewells or something.
John's thinking about it now, Alexandra.
Love cherry bakewell. So for my 100k, events always have what they call aid stations, and they will all be always what they call well stocked. But actually what you need to remember, I think, on the really long distances is that they are there to top up what you haven't got yourself. So you need to predominantly be self-sufficient, but they will always have things like crisps, nuts, biscuits, chocolate bars. There'll be gels, and generally on the really long races, there'll be a selection of gels, so makers, so that it can kind of work for everybody. So I enjoy cis, which are they're really easy for me to digest, but then I need to take water with it as well. But there'll be other things with like more caffeine in, these little chocolate cappuccino bars that you can get, and cappuccino gels. So there'll always be stuff that you can take on the table, and things like soups, or in races abroad they'll often do things like bouillon, and which are much clearer soups, and they don't have enough substance to me. If you ask me, I need a minestrone soup, thick, with noodles and meat and stuff, real food. And on the 100k I did back in the summer, I stopped at one station, and they're really good because often you can ask for what you need. And I really needed I wanted all I could think of was that I could take in was I wanted a piece of white bread with butter on it, because I wanted the white bread for the carbs and I wanted the butter for the salt.
Yeah.
And I ate that, and then I went, I don't suppose you've got a soup. If you've got vegetable soup, like thick vegetable soup, she went, yeah, I could do that. And that's what I had it on it. And you digest it for as quickly as, because you don't want to stop for hours and hours, because otherwise you seats up. So you have a little cup, and I took that with me, and I ate that as I carried on walking. Because the other thing is with ultras is that unless you're elite and you're training to win those races, you're not going to be running all the time. And I can attest to the fact that a lot of it is run walk, which generally gives you a better overall pace anyway, if you judge it correctly, your best average pace. But that means that I can breeze through an aid station, pick up with my bag, I pick up what I want, loads of fruit. Oh, that's another thing you asked. What do I like? Fruit, grapes, melon, orange segments, because they're really quick and give you what you need really, really quickly. But also you can put them in a bag, and then I put them in a little Joey pack, and then I eat them for the next half hour.
Oh, that's fantastic.